Welcome to episode 7 of So What Do You Do? I created this podcast as a way to give out free and public information to college students, professionals looking to make a career shift, and upper management wanting to learn more about early career professionals and their experience in their industries thus far. Today we have my 7th guest, my dear friend, the always hardworking Taylor Mesich. Taylor, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing amazing, man. Thank you for this opportunity to be on the podcast. I've been wanting to do this for a couple months now, so this is awesome to be on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your eagerness. I was really excited when you started to tell me about this new field that you're in, and I'm really excited to dive deeper into it. My first question for you is the title of the show, and that is, so what do you do?
So what do I do? So right now, obviously, when someone asks me that, I like to say, obviously, I work in solar, but I really like to say I'm a solarpreneur. And obviously, we'll get to that through it. But in the short term, I work in the solar industry.
And how did you first discover this field?
Sure. So it really wasn't something that I was looking for. It's something that found me, as cheesy as that sounds. But basically, I guess I'll just sort of go in just a little background. So to really answer the question is, basically I just went to, obviously graduated high school together, went to college. Didn't really know what I was wanting to do after college, right? As kind of was, I thought I would be going into the basically like work for UNICEF or Greenpeace or something like that, basically work abroad. That's something my cousin did that I had interest in doing. That's what I studied in college, international studies, business and things like that. So after college, I was kind of just working odd jobs, just, I don't know really what I was doing, to be honest, just trying to pay the bills. And then I went home, Sacramento. So I went to school in LA, went back to Sacramento, and I was working as a substitute teacher at the time. So I did like teaching. It's something I enjoyed doing. My mom's a teacher. My girlfriend's a teacher. My girlfriend's, her family were teachers. So it's something that I did for a while as a sub. But then COVID happened, and they let all of the temporary teachers go. Right. So obviously I was one of those. And then I really didn't know what I was doing, and I essentially ran into another sales agency, and I've just been doing sales ever since. It wasn't with solar; it was with something else, which we'll go into. But that's kind of I started there, and then I ended up getting the solar, and I literally was just how I did it. I literally just on Indeed looking at jobs, and it came up, and I went to an interview, and man, the rest is history 3 years later. So, but I couldn't ask for anything more, and I'm super happy that it happened that way.
Yeah, I really appreciate the background context because I always like my guests listening, especially if they're college students or maybe they're looking to make that career shift. I want them to have those reference points so hopefully they can end up where you are one day, a successful solar salesman. When you went into that solar interview, or maybe it was in the Indeed post, what initially drew you to the field of solar?
It's really hard to say. I mean, I'll be quite honest. I just really felt like, hey, maybe this is something I should check out. Obviously, I did know they were saying, hey, commissions are really good, and I knew that was obviously part of it. But it was really just kind of something that just naturally happened. It was just sort of weird, not really to explain it. But obviously, I did know that I had a general idea that there was money to be made, and that there was sort of a freedom that went along with it. I knew this wasn't something that was a 9 to 5. Like I knew this was something different, and I wanted to explore that. And just explore it, just something I'd interest in.
Yeah, I like the transparency of that answer because sometimes our most successful endeavors are just a matter of circumstance, right? Like with my current position now, I never thought I'd be in this position when I was in college studying something that was kind of related, but a much less technical. And so sometimes life takes us on that trajectory, on that career that we never thought we'd be in. Sometimes it's not just like I was so fascinated or passionate about this at a young age, or this stood out to me. Sometimes it was the right place, right time. You said that you got a bachelor's degree in international studies. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, from Long Beach State.
So you got this international studies degree from Long Beach State. Is any of what you studied in college, or was there anything in college that you felt like learning is now very helpful to you as a salesman in the field of solar sales?
Yeah, I mean, obviously today everyone's debating whether to go to college. Is a degree worth anything these days? Is it not? Like you go on TikTok and Instagram and all those business entrepreneur whatever trashing college education, and I mean it's just I don't like that because obviously college, I'm so grateful for my college experience. Like I got to meet people from all over the world. I really got to learn vast amount of subjects and really, especially in my field, just to learn about different cultures and just learn about economics, philosophy, and obviously I still did calculus and everything, and writing, language, research, all that. So, I really wouldn't say I'm not a type that just hates on college. So obviously there's a lot of things that you do in the social aspect and everything else. So and of course, yeah, that definitely made me a better salesperson because I know how to look at things and be organized, and have long-term goals, and to understand people, and to obviously be articulate and public speak and all that things, right? So I wouldn't say that it was a waste. I mean, conversely, though, there were a lot of things in college that I think I could have only have learned through sales. That I think I only could have learned like being in business and actually doing it. So, that's my short answer. But if you're thinking about going to college and you still want to do it, hey, I would just please like go do it for sure. Like you're gonna have the time of your life and definitely change the person. But if you're a type of person like, hey, like, I don't really think I need college. I think I can do it on my own. Like 100% you can. So that's my answer in regards to college. But so yeah, the short answer for your question is yes. Obviously, from what I learned, it became who I am. Obviously, helps me become a salesperson, but it's not for everyone. So really, you just got to figure out what your heart is telling you to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think anytime I look at college as a route to take or to not take, I just think of risk versus reward. And I feel like in almost every circumstance, the reward of college is better than the risk, right? The risk might be like a financial risk. But in the state of California, where we're located at least, there's so much funding now for junior college. Junior college is free in the state of California. If you do go to a UC or a state school like both you and I did, there's so much access to funding via FAFSA or other different grants that you can apply for, Pell grants. So I definitely think that there's a lot more of a reward than a risk due to the financial assistance programs that are out there. But yeah, everybody's scenario is different. There's certain people that like to go into the trades or like to go into the military or vocational programs, and I think those are all great. I just think as long as you have a path, right? I think avoiding college without having a secondary plan might not be the best risk versus reward. I really appreciate all that information and insight from you. Going now to your current role, where do you work? And I want you to just talk a little bit about what your day-to-day activities are and what you love about it. Because from our personal conversations, you seem very passionate about this role, and it seems like it's been a great fit for you so far.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, well, what I think was I really love about this role, and I kind of just want to extend a little conversation, is just a topic of entrepreneurship. Um, a little bit sort of the background, a little bit more kind of me was I came from so my mom's a school teacher, dad's a civil engineer, so I never really had any business experience. I never really, yeah, I didn't really know what it meant to be an entrepreneur, to run a business, how to what that world looks like. And I really do think that there's sort of two different worlds out there, and there's sort of the 9 to 5, W-2, which is great. I'm not saying anything against that, but there is also the business world out there, and it's great, and I think people are sort of expanding on that. But for me, my journey was I was not introduced to that at all. I really had no idea what it was. Again, my dad worked for the state, my mom's a teacher, like just sort of pretty straight ahead positions. Um, but I know there was just always something just in the back of my mind that was saying like, hey, like that's maybe I should check this out. And one of the first memories I had of this was I was thinking about this for the podcast. I want to bring it up was when I was young. We had a garage sale. My mom, we had a garage sale, and basically we had, we had all of our stuff in the front yard, and just because she was very thrifty and obviously wanted to save money, things like that. And I remember I was young, right? But I remember saying like, oh my god, what if no one's gonna buy our stuff? what if, we're going to put up all these signs. What if the signs blow down? Like, what if we don't sell anything? And what are we going to do? Are we going to just throw it away? Are we going to give it away? Like, we're going to put all this hard work into this thing. And I was like 10, and it was not a big deal, right? You're not going to make $100 anyway. But I remember just sort of the whole process. I was still intrigued with the process. I was like, wow, like we're really like taking a risk here. Like we have our stuff outside, and who knows what's going to happen. And I had a little bit of a wonder and awe, sort of like what's going to happen. And then obviously early morning, right? We had all of our stuff out. It was mildew, whatever, not mildew, the dew, and everything. And I just seen people come in and just look at your stuff and then purchase and then buy, look around, and be like, oh my god, I've been looking for this gift for my daughter. I couldn't find this anywhere. I can't believe I found this. This is great. Oh my gosh, how much do you want for it? Whatever. Like, and just people just come in, and it was more than the money. It was about our stuff was helping their problems, right? It was just, hey, I've been looking for this Lego set. I can't find anywhere that was sold out. I can't believe I'm finding this for my daughter. Oh, you really don't need these clothes. Like, I could really use this for my son. Like, or this bike. Are you sure you want to sell this bike? Like, this is perfect. And for my daughter or my son or whatever it was, my family member, a gift. And that's when it sort of clicked was like, I'm not selling stuff. I'm solving problems. Like, I'm making these people's lives better. And really that's what brought me to sort of find that spark. You're saying like we took this risk, but the people came, build it, people come, and they were so grateful, and it was just an overall great experience. And then at the end of the day, hey, I had a couple bucks in my pocket, right? So, and it was just like just the overall and stuff that wasn't in my closet anymore, right? So it's like obviously like sort of a silly thing, but a small thing, but really just the overall arc and concept is the same. And that's how really I grew towards entrepreneurship and taking that risk and helping people and wanting to do it all was really awesome. So like what I love, and obviously it grew, I kind of really didn't do anything in business for a while. I did my normal years, but I still thought about that moment. And I still thought about sort of that experience. It's like, hey, like I can actually do this in the real world. Like I can actually go out, solve people's problems, take risks, be a business owner, and get the rewards. And it was just something that I love doing. So I know it's sort of a long-ended question, but really, what I love when it comes down to it is just helping people and solve their problems and really connect to people is amazing. And if I can create these experiences and make a couple bucks, like, hey, what's better, right? What's better thing to do with my time?
And in what ways does the product you sell, solar, help people's lives? How do you interpret that? And then can you kind of go a little bit into detail as to like what you're selling, your company name, just to kind of get the name out there. I know we were talking about maybe some opportunities as well for the company. So if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Sure thing. So let's talk energy. Let's talk solar, right? Power is one of those things where if you're just average day to day, you turn a light switch and it's there, and hey, right? It's there, right? And if you ever traveled in another country or something like that, you experience a blackout, you realize how fast you take it for granted. It's kind of funny. It's one of those things that's always there. It's something they always need, but sometimes it's something that people really don't know where it comes from or really what it is, right? So um, basically, just in short, is in the state of California, we get most of our power from natural gas. So, and then we're burning natural gas. Majority of the companies where you buy it, obviously, there's certain areas where you buy it from with different companies. So there's SDG&E, there's SCE, and then there's PG&E. So these are the main three what we call investor-owned utilities. They provide the power. There's other smaller ones called municipal utilities. So there's SMUD, there's Anaheim, there's basically the city. That's a little bit different. But essentially, it's a huge issue, which we can have a whole nother episode on. But if right now California has a power problem, there's really not enough of it for our needs and our future needs. The California mandates that are needed to have electric cars by 2030, have renewable energy. Our grid is just simply not built and wasn't built for this amount of need that we need that are required, right? So essentially, what's happening now is a lot of our power where you're going to have to purchase them out of state or generate it out of state and ship to California. A lot of solar and other renewables, sometimes there isn't a way to store the power. So there's an issue with storage too. So, and there's a whole other reasons. These industrial utilities are also owned by investors. So a lot of the money has to go back to pay these investors and uphold the grid. So there's essentially a lot of these different factors that are raising energy rates in California. So, and it's causing an issue for homeowners, right? It's just a problem that we have in the state, in most states. And that's why your rates are going up every single year. So, and it's expensive. It wasn't really built well. It's not really planned very well. And it's really a problem, not just in California, but obviously other states. So rates are going up. I mean, they've gone up every single year, past 10 years, 10 to 13%, different rates from different companies. And it's causing a problem, right? It's causing a problem for homeowners, especially in the summer. If you're using a lot of power and need power, then it's expensive, right? We're at 20, all the way up to 59 cents per kilowatt, 88 cents per kilowatt in some areas. So it's a reoccurring issue that we have in California. So now I don't really want to get into a conversation saying that's all the utilities' fault or it's all of solar's fault or things like that. I don't really like to go that route. It is what it is. And essentially, we need to find a solution. I'm not saying solar is 100%, but it is a really good way to be able to solve this problem. So what we do at Sunrun is we basically solve that issue. California, we want to have renewable energy. So part of it is, instead of burning fossil fuels and having carbon emissions and what that means and trying to purchase our power from out of state, is we want to create power on site and store it on site. So that's why with our company is we're going to collect renewable energy from the sun and also store it on your home using the battery. And that's going to provide one payment for your power, and then understand that you have the ability to control your power, not just now, but in the future as well. So what's really great with us, again, I work at Sunrun, so we're the nation's largest solar provider. So it's what we mainly do offer is a $0 down. Is instead of there's no money up front to do this. Instead of you paying your utility, you'd be able to pay solar at a lower rate and guarantee your rates for the future. So I know we can probably talk a little more detail about that, and we should, but there's sort of a little nutshell kind of what's going on and why solar has been huge in California and other states.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful summary of, both what Sunrun offers as a company and how you interpret it as a way to still continuously help people on the business side. Yeah, one thing you said that really stood out to me in one of your previous answers, it was the fact that you had a parent that worked for the state, you had another parent that was a teacher, because I had my dad worked for the state, my mom worked for the federal government. And so I know that the curiosity that comes with that when it comes to getting out into the economy and looking at whether you want to go into the private sector, at least in my upbringing, it seemed like I always thought of you had to be in the public sector in order to help people. But just given in your answer there, it's like there are private companies out there that are doing really ethical, responsible things and moving or trying to move society forward. One question I have for you, so you kind of were able to talk about what you loved about the role. Is there anything you would change about the industry of solar? Is there any part of your industry or maybe job in particular that you don't like?
Well, I mean, for the most part, really, I love it. I mean, it's great. Besides sales, a lot of other too is recruiting and training too. That's also what I'm doing more now. Is I'm really actually training new reps how to be entrepreneurs, how to be solar reps, which is cool. And learning the business, learning new technology, and all that. It's really what I'm doing more is trainings and sales too, of course. But so that's really fun. Anything I would change? So, of course, in the business world, there is competition, right? There's other companies out there, of course, and trash talking does happen, right? Like you get on the field, you talk to another rep, and it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, this is crazy, So there is some, I feel like, unnecessary competition, just trash talking competition between companies. I do see that sometimes there are examples of maybe reps not, not doing the right thing too as well, just in general. So obviously that's been cracked down a lot. I mean, we have to go through licenses and trainings, and that has changed a lot in the industry. So like, obviously we have to be HOS licensed, and we have to go through all the trainings, and it's highly regulated. The solar industry is highly regulated, so that's not really big of an issue. But what I'm seeing is sort of company versus company, just trash talk, advertising, and I just think that just needs to go away. I mean, just say what your product is, say what it does, just be matter of fact of your product, and the consumer will pick what's best for them. That's what I would say I would change.
So I know that Sunrun has some employment opportunities as well as product opportunities. What does this is kind of a two-part question, and I'm sorry I'm giving you these like multiple part questions. You're doing such a great job of answering them. But this is a two-part question, and the reason it's two-part is because I think it relates to one another. What are Sunrun's current employment opportunities for onboarding or new employees? And then also, what does the future of employment look like in solar from your perspective in a general sense?
Sure thing. So, renewable energy sector is obviously a growing industry. It's there's really, we've barely scratched the surface. Only 20% of the homes in California have solar, right? So, and it's less in other states. So, I mean, we really are just seeing the start of this. So, there is a long, bright future for renewable energy in not California, but the U.S., not just the U.S. globally, right? I was in Mexico and I was seeing solar companies. I was in Thailand and I was seeing solar, which is crazy, right? So there's really high job opportunities, and you don't have to be in sales too. I talk to other installers. You can be obviously on our install crew. You can be an electrician. You could be a design engineer. You could be a civil engineer. You can be a CX pro, customer service. Obviously, if you want to go to the sales side, of course, there's sales reps, there's sales managers, there's office managers, there's logistics, there's really just all. It's not just sales and installation. There's this whole industry behind it, and really there's an opening for what you're doing right now. So like for instance, we'll recruit we hire electricians and roofers, right? I work with roofers and electricians all the time. So I mean, we always are needing roofers, electricians, and designers, so well, no matter what you do, I mean, there's a space in the renewable energy field. Now for me specifically, I'm going to do a little plug for sales. If you're in a position where you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to write your own paycheck, and you want to go out and prove yourself and really grow and learn those hard life lessons, I would say get into sales. I think everyone should do sales and really learn this, because I mean, again, we have this college conversation, but when you're doing sales, you're learning some things that you just can't other places. I mean, you're learning time management, you're learning negotiation, you're learning customer service, you're learning grit, you're learning entrepreneurship, you're learning obviously self governance, self control, planning ahead, organization, and um, obviously taking risks, working with the team, training, all these things that really are life skills that will transfer to whatever you want to do. I mean, it's if you don't need to sales, live your life fine. But life is sales, right? Life is negotiation. So I really do think that you should do this and definitely try it. At Sunrun, we are always obviously looking for the next rep. We have offices all across the country. I mean, we operate in most states. So you don't have to be in California. If you're out in New York, go ahead and do an interview at your local Sunrun office, and there's going to be an awesome team there that's going to be there to support you all the way and show you the ropes. And we really do want your success, and it's a great team to be behind. I've worked for a couple of companies, and I'm sticking with Sunrun. Just the way they take care of their employees, the way they're doing their training, their onboarding, the way they work as a company and always innovating is awesome. And I'm really happy to be here, grateful to be here. And if you even have just a slightest interest in Modicom, reach out to me. I'm going to give you my email here. We'll post it somewhere, and then reach out to me and we'll talk, and we'll get you on board. We'll show you the ropes.
Yeah, and just to clarify, because I know we both were kind of supporting or leaning towards the support of the idea of going to college. For those that aren't taking the college route, sales is a really great opportunity, because a lot of sales roles, and correct me if I'm wrong for Sunrun specifically, but a lot of sales roles don't require college degrees. Is that true for Sunrun as well?
Yep. Yeah. So when you walk into our office, it's crazy. I mean, there's all different types of people. Like you got 18-year-olds like fresh out of high school. You got 65-year-old men who went from another industry, killing it. You got people who went to college like me, who ex corporate life, who are now sales managers and killing it and loving it. You men, women. You got people who are new to this country who are still learning the language, or who are still getting to just still just being acclimated to being in the country, that are making it and seeing money that they've never thought possible. So it's really one of those things where it's really open to anyone, and it's there's no barrier to entry, and no one is at an advantage. No one, you're not going to be judged upon if you have a college degree or if you have sales experience. Like, none of that. Like, it's just a blank slate. These doors, the doors are for everyone, and everyone has opportunity, and that's what's really cool about it. And that's what's great about it, especially working in the solar industry and especially working at Sunrun.
So this is my last question for you. I ask all my guests the same first question and the same last question. So the title of the show is So What Do You Do? And my last question for you, Taylor, is so what will you do next? Where do you see your trajectory? Is it at Sunrun? Is it in some other industry? Where do you see, the future of, let's say, 5 to 10 years of your professional trajectory?
Sure. So I'm gonna be at Sunrun. So obviously that's where it's gonna be, but I'm more toward the training field now. So what's great is I'm taking more of a leadership role. So what that means is I'm training people, right, showing them how to do the ropes, education, and really just sort of training reps. So that's where I'm going to be towards. So it's going to be a basically learning experience and just helping people along the road, and then eventually to be more in a leadership position, either be a DM of an office or just be a sales manager. What's great with this position is, with that being said, I'm always going to be doing sales. Like, even our top DMs, they're not sitting in a golden office and telling us what to do. Like, they're out knocking doors side by side and getting clients just as we are. And I love that, because you really are, you're in it for the long term, and you're really side by side all your guys, and that's what's awesome. And I can see myself doing this for, and I do see myself doing this for a very long time.
Well, Taylor, I know how successful you've been at Sunrun. I know that you've hit the ground running, and I don't see you stopping anytime soon. So I'm excited to see the day that you become a DM, because I don't think it's probably as far away as we might think. I appreciate your time as always, and thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for your future. Thank you for coming on and talking about it.
Sure. So, and obviously, thank you for doing this podcast. Like, this is awesome way to people just view what's out there, right? And but with that being said, like, I'm putting my email, but in the comment section of the YouTube. Seriously, feel free to reach out to me. Right now, I'm gonna do a little quick plug because I can. We're doing a sort of $4,000 sign up bonus. So basically, if you're ever interested in it, right now we are doing that for new reps. There's a big company wide actually competition we're doing for the next month or so. So we really want to onboard as many people as we can, explain the opportunity, and just hit the ground running. So, but other than that, Kieran, thank you so much, and maybe we'll do a follow up too. What do you think? Part two. What do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. I want to keep following your journey, just as far as you go. I want to stay in touch. I do want to say, yeah, to add on to that, we'll be posting this on LinkedIn, and we'll obviously tag you in the LinkedIn post. It'll be on YouTube, like you said. We'll have your email in the comments. We'll also be on Instagram. And if anybody's watching this, and maybe you are established in your career or you have a different trajectory in mind, please feel free to share this video with anybody who you think might be interested in sales, or might be unsure of what their next steps are going to be. Because really, we have the episode here, but the goal is to get this out into the world, get it out into the public. It's free and accessible for a reason. So please share the video as much as you can. Taylor, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Kieran.